SMG metas in 2025 Warzone Verdansk are beaming. Are they too overpowered? The return of Verdansk in 2025 has reignited a fierce debate in the Warzone community, and nowhere is that tension more evident than in the current SMG meta. Fast-firing, laser-accurate submachine guns like the Lachman Shroud, HRM9, and the newly introduced CX-79 are dominating close-quarter fights, leaving even skilled AR and shotgun players struggling to keep up. Their time-to-kill (TTK) statistics in short-range engagements are unmatched, and their mobility allows players to zip through buildings and cover with ruthless efficiency. The question of whether they are too powerful lingers in every post-match lobby and Reddit thread. What sets the 2025 SMG meta apart from previous seasons is not just raw firepower but also the consistency across all skill levels. With low recoil, fast aim-down sight (ADS), speeds, and forgiving hip-fire spread, even average players are experiencing high kill counts and aggressive momentum plays. This makes SMGs not just viable but dominant in a game that's meant to reward strategy, map awareness, and tactical positioning. The prevalence of these weapons has reshaped the pacing of Verdansk matches, encouraging rush-heavy tactics and suppressing the viability of more methodical playstyles. Warzone has always experienced the ebbs and flows of metas, but the current state feels different. The SMGs of today are not just situational tools, they're universal solutions. Players are ditching traditional loadouts and ignoring mid-range optimization because high-damage SMGs are versatile enough to handle almost every engagement with success. This blurring of class boundaries erodes the foundational rock-paper-scissors balance that once made Warzone's sandbox so compelling. When one weapon type begins to dominate all distances under 30 meters, it creates a bottleneck in player choice. The balance philosophy at the core of Warzone's weapon tuning has always leaned toward excitement over purity, which is understandable for a game built on fast-paced battle royale action. However, the current SMG dominance may be undermining that philosophy by unintentionally narrowing the skill gap. Weapons like the HRM9 can melt armor with alarming speed even when hip-firing, allowing players to win duels without precise aiming or advanced positioning. This raises concerns about whether the game is moving away from rewarding tactical mastery and leaning too far into twitch reflex territory. Another aspect worth examining is the loadout economy. With loadout drops returning to earlier match phases and cash being more accessible, players can access their customized SMG builds within the first 5 minutes of a match. This shifts early game dynamics and reduces the risk-reward tension that made the looting phase critical in earlier versions of Warzone. As a result, SMG metas become even more prevalent, further squeezing out unorthodox or creative weapon strategies. Loadout accessibility isn't inherently bad, but when it consistently reinforces one weapon archetype, it becomes a problem. Community feedback has been clear, if divided. Pro players and streamers often embrace the chaos, citing the fun factor and how the current meta rewards aggressive, entertaining play. But casual and mid-tier players are voicing fatigue. Encounters feel repetitive, and the killcams all look the same, players with tuned SMGs outgunning everything else in a blur of movement. The disparity between gunplay diversity and what actually wins fights is becoming too wide to ignore, which may hurt long-term engagement with the game. It's important to note that SMGs have always had a role in Verdansk's verticality-heavy, close-quarters-friendly design. From storage town to hospital and the newly revamped promenade, tight angles and multiple levels favor rapid engagement weapons. The problem isn't their inclusion, it's the balance between map design and weapon performance. When the landscape and the meta both tilt toward close combat, the synergy becomes oppressive instead of empowering. Adjustments must be made either to weapon stats or to how the map encourages varied engagement distances. Of course, balancing a live-service shooter like Warzone is a Herculean task. Every nerf risks alienating part of the player base and every buff can spark controversy. Still, precedent exists. The MAC-10 and OTS-9 were once seen as too dominant, and measured adjustments brought more balance without gutting them completely. Developers now face a similar crossroads with the 2025 SMG roster. The challenge lies in maintaining the thrilling pace SMGs offer without making them an automatic choice for every player, every match. Ultimately, the SMG meta has brought a level of dynamism to Verdansk that many players appreciate. The speed, aggression, and mechanical fluency they enable are part of what makes Warzone exhilarating. But the pendulum has swung too far. When variety suffers and gameplay becomes predictable, even high-octane firefights can lose their luster. Weapon balance isn't about removing power, it's about distributing it more evenly across viable options. In conclusion, while SMGs in the 2025 Warzone Verdansk meta are undeniably fun and powerful, their current state appears too dominant to foster long-term balance and diversity. The issue isn't that they're effective, it's that they're effective at nearly everything, reducing the strategic depth that makes battle royales rewarding. Unless future patches introduce meaningful tuning or new weapon options that compete fairly, the current trend threatens to flatten Warzone's complexity into a one-speed spray fest. It's time for Raven Software to recalibrate and return variety to the battlefield.